Hey YouTube, I'm Matt Moran, and excuse me, it's about a little after 5 in the morning, I guess 5:30 or something like that. Sun's starting to come up, maybe it's close to 6. I wanted to share with you just kind of where I'm at in the creative process and songwriting specifically, but really life in general. For those who pay attention to the channel, may have noticed that my video output this year, I started in January. I think I did 5 or 6 videos, and in February I did 4. March had 2, and I think there were 3 in April. And of those, a couple of them were kind of promo 30-second spots. But really haven't been putting out much in the way of just conversations and letting people know what I'm up to. And this goes back to, I don't know, kind of an assessment of the goals I'm going after and the things I want to try and achieve. And so I want to step back for a moment and just talk about the creative process and writing music. I've talked a little bit about this in my newsletter before and back on my old website on the blog, where, it's really difficult. I think I did a video too called Golden Handcuffs, so I'll have a link to that in the description. And, I explained what the golden handcuffs were, the fact that I make significantly more money in a short amount of time when I focus on technology projects. So for those that don't know, I write software. Used to write software primarily in the Microsoft world, primarily towards automation, document assembly, reporting systems using VBA, SQL Server, a little C#, .NET stuff. And more recently, over the past few years, I've done a lot more work with Google Apps Script and JavaScript and some of that type of automation. And we'll get to that. But, the fact that you make a lot of money writing software really makes it difficult to let go of that and fully commit to I'm going to pursue the creative life. I'm going to make my money writing music or writing books or whatever the case may be. And you can make good money in those things, but it's a pretty rarefied and limited number of people that are able to do it and make, when I say good money, really good money. Let's say, 6 figures consistently. And and by the way, I'm not saying that's what anyone has to do, but I have certain objectives. And so back in, I think it was probably December, maybe a little bit before, my oldest son was out visiting, and he recently, last year, was hired as a software developer for LinkedIn. And, with that comes a decent paycheck and some opportunities for growth. And we were talking about the projects I work on, and he kind of said, you have these software ideas and you haven't really executed on them, but those are things that really can pay your bills long term, and you can leverage for, more free time and more options. And more options really opens up the opportunity for the creative life. So what happened is I sat down in December and I said, well, what are my goals? And I've mentioned it before, one of my goals is to have Deb and I move up to the Humboldt area, Humboldt, California, Eureka, Arcata, somewhere up in that area, near the Redwoods. My daughter attends school up there, my youngest, and, I went up there and just fell in love. I think the first time I walked into the Redwoods up there, behind Humboldt State, Redwood Park is, I walked in and I just saw it, and it was, it took my breath away. I mean, literally started weeping, and that's happened a couple times when I went up there. Now, don't worry, I'm not losing, my emotional mind. I weep at a lot of things. Kind of in our relationship, Deb laughs that I'm the one that cries all the time, and she's a little more stoic. But either way, it's so immensely beautiful and a place that I really want to get to. And so as I kind of assess those goals and my age, I thought about it and said, if I focus on technology work and I deliver this software, I can use the time and the really the lack of stress or the stress it removes, the money stress, meaning when you have money and you've got money coming in and you're able to pay all your bills and you're not sitting there going, oh man, how we got to hustle for the rest of the month or whatever the case may be. When you have that set aside, it really opens you up to do more creative work and perhaps more wisely, apply my talents where they're best suited. So I spent the pandemic learning how to record and mix better. But in the end, when it comes to me mixing down a song, it takes me a long time. I have to make all the decisions on where I want to kind of bring instrumentation out. And it was a great exercise. So I recommend it for anyone. But the reality is it doesn't leverage my strongest strength, which would be writing songs and putting words and music together. And so in December, I took down all of my recording gear and I just packaged it up, and it's kind of sitting in a pile over here right now. But and I said, I'm only going to take it out when we'll call it earning the time, when I've earned the time to pull it out and play with it. And so I really started focusing purely on doing a lot more of my programming work and picking up some clients, and it's been really rewarding. And the primary reward, I've certainly jumped into some technologies that I love learning about, and I've always loved technology, but it's made things significantly less stressful. And it's also made it easier for Deb and I to assess our next step and say, this is what we could put together, and maybe we can start looking for a place up there. And so that conversation has moved forward. And so I've determined that what I'm going to do this next coming year, because I still want to play music, we're going to play out live. We have some things coming up that we'll be announcing, and we're going to put product together. But I'm going to outsource those things that, even though I can do them, are probably better suited for me to pay someone else to do. I can pay a few $100s and have a good producer and mixer mix songs and master songs, and I can do all the recording here, send them all the information and tell them what I'm looking for, and then work with them to get the final mix. I can hire a guitar player to add some lead guitar work, even though I can kind of do it. There's a sound I want, there's a certain skill set I want, and I'm not the holder of that skill set. So I'm better suited to get my recordings, the things I can do well, and send those off and have somebody else work on them. And so it was kind of a liberating moment to get to that point and say, well, wait a second, what might take me 15, 20 hours to mix down on a song, I can use that, and maybe I can put away $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in programming work, and I can go hire somebody for a few $100s to take care of that for me. And as I said, understanding the mixing process has been great, because I can give them better direction and I can listen for things I really want and give them feedback that's maybe a little more meaningful. So by all means, I recommend anybody learn to do that if you want to do that. But my goal is to, and what I'll be working on is creating software. I'll have links to what I do, not that anybody who's interested in music really might be interested in the programming, but I'll link to our new software site where we're selling our software development services, and a few other things, other information, for those that are interested. But just understand that one of my objectives now is to be more diligent in creating just update videos where I'm going to kind of let you know what we're working on, how progress is making, maybe the songs we're working on. We have a few. And like I said, I've contacted a few producers. We're having conversations. I'll probably separate out who's going to do some of the work. And the reason I want to do this, I want to see what I get back. The people I'm talking to, I believe, are extremely competent. They're going to be able to do this and produce, better final product than I could produce. And I'm going to kind of focus on the things that I'm strong at. So that's kind of it. And I wanted to make sure I gave this update because this is kind of the tone and the nature of things that we're going to see going forward. I'm going to do a recording. Also, one of the other objectives is get some of my songs out there that have never been recorded, that haven't seen the light of day. So we're going to record my song Diana just after this, and just an acoustic recording sitting right here, and we'll probably do quite a bit more of that, because, you know, with a couple hundred songs that haven't been recorded, I want to expose those to the world, and you know, if you have input on that, would love your feedback. Love your feedback on my plan, and hopefully we'll be producing a lot of good stuff in the near future. So thank you so much for tuning in and for listening to kind of what's on my heart and what I'm trying to work on, and I appreciate the support, and let's go have a creative life and make some music. See ya.
I was a good man until I was exposed to the darkness within. And then you found me and I found my religion. Sacrificed it all to the song and the sin.